Okay, pause this one. We've got the same problem going on here, don't we? Completing a 3-piece form board within 3 minutes each time she's prompted is clearly specific, measurable, and attainable, not relevant, and hopefully not tied to a priority. Go ahead and pause this one. This outcome was my favorite outcomes in a research study of 120 IFSPs. Usually, this sort of outcome looks more like Kendall will be able to navigate over uneven surfaces. That would be the traditional sort of PT pushed in outcome. But instead, if you were to read this IFSP, you would see a kid with maybe cerebral palsy, some other motor issue, who's having difficulty with a wide gait and some falling down. And you could almost see the thick thresholds in an old Alabama house, and this little guy was having trouble tripping over those. And instead of pushing in the uneven surfaces navigation outcome, we have taken a natural learning opportunity out of his routine, which we'll talk about this a little more in a minute. But using a routine as a source of learning opportunity is even better than a step to take if we can. So what about so that and in order to? A lot of states push so that and in order to statements to make outcomes rationale very clear. So that doesn't make a lot of sense. Another type of wording that can be helpful if people get stuck in this sort of predicament is child will participate in X activity by X skill. So the child will participate in outside play on the playground by walking by himself at least 10 steps. That would be a better example and a more accurate example. Okay, let's talk about strategies now. Before we're going to even suggest any strategies, we want to first listen to what everyone is doing now, remembering that families and child care providers and siblings and other caregivers are doing lots of good stuff for kids out there without ever being told to do so by an early interventionist. And so we want to point out what wonderful strategies are being used now and talk about how they can use those same strategies maybe in other routines or with other people, or maybe modify some of those strategies. But we want to build on family strengths. We ask about these things in IFSPs, and too infrequently do we use those. We want to use those strengths as we suggest other strategies. My brother-in-law sent me a series of photos that has really helped me to understand one of Carl Dunst's. Okay, look at this Benjamin Moore ad. If this were a typical ad, it would just be a billboard stuck in the grass with a ad for Benjamin Moore and paint buckets. But instead, look, they've used the sky as a source for their ad. This is the difference between embedding intervention into a routine and using a routine as a source of natural learning opportunity. Here's another one. They've used the surroundings as a source of natural learning opportunity, or it's a metaphor for using the surroundings as a source of natural learning opportunity. They've used the environment as a source for this ad. And here's another one. A t-shirt with a FedEx imprint on the side that looks like the guy's carrying the envelope. Again, the embedding version would be to have a FedEx sign across the front of the t-shirt, and the using the environment as a source is this example. Okay, this one's very metaphorical, and I love this one. This one has taken a crack in the sidewalk, which may have been seen as negative or a problem or something to fix, and yet it's a perfect source for this ad. And so often we see things in kids. And here's another one, using the environment as a source rather than embedding. And here is another one. And again, it's not that embedding intervention is negative. It's certainly positive and something we want to do all the time. But before we get to that level of intervention, we want to make sure that we've used the environment and the resources in the environment as a source of learning opportunity first. And then we build on top of that what we need to. So as we write our strategies, we can think about a routine acronym. The R in routine stands for routines-based. Is it clear how this strategy enhances the routine, or better yet, makes use of the routine? The I in routine stands for implementer is the caregiver. Is it clear when you read the strategy that the caregivers, the child care providers, the family members, are the ones that will be implementing the intervention? That when we go on visits to child care centers, communities, and into homes, that the providers are providing information and support to other adults who then carry out the